Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome to the video. Today, I'm just going to be walking you through kind of how I prepare for a shoot. I recently did a really big corporate trip to Oregon where I shot like a company summit. And so I just wanted to walk you through kind of my whole process on how I would pack for something like that and just like how I would go about getting prepared for it. So let's just jump right into it. So first things first is the charging. And I always try to be really prepared before I even show up on site. So I want all my stuff charged before I even get there. I know a lot of people like to charge stuff on site, but for me personally, it's a lot less stressful and a lot less to deal with if everything is already charged when I get there. So usually I haven't cleaned up since my last shoot or done anything with any of my stuff. I kind of just leave everything where it is. So step number one is just going through and finding all of the batteries that need to be charged and plugging them in. And sometimes there is that one battery that has already been charged and it's super nice and you just need to leave that, and I usually kind of separate them into two different piles. And then step number two is just organizing my Pelican. A Pelican is basically a very large suitcase kind of bag. It's really nice for travel because you can carry all of your camera gear in it and it just packs in really nicely. They have these nice like little Velcro things that you can kind of move around and you can kind of make it however you want it. So it's super nice because if you have a gimbal or 3 different types of cameras or just lenses or something, you know, you can move them around and make it fit exactly what you want it to. So that's usually step number two, is trying to imagine what I want my Pelican to look like depending on what gear I'm using. For this shoot, I was bringing everything. So just kind of reorganizing that, trying to figure out where things would fit best. And yeah, just going at it like that. And as I create this pile of gear that's not charged, I try and just, you know, make sure that keeping them all in the same place, keeping them all together. So, you know, whether that's GoPro batteries or Avata batteries or whatever, just making sure I know that all the stuff that needs to be charged is in one pile. And then kind of after I've cleared my Pelican and cleared my backpack and found all the batteries that need to be charged, the next step is to just start plugging stuff in. Depending on what all needs to be charged, I usually use anywhere between 2 to 4 outlets. So anywhere between 4 to 8 total plugs. And one thing I highly recommend is changing all of your stuff to USB-C. So for example, getting plugs that look like this and cords that have USB-C to USB-C or USB-C to iPhone or whatever you're charging. But this single purchase cut my charge time in half. Like, it does not take nearly as long to charge anything anymore just because it's on a USB-C. So I do understand why Apple is switching, and I'm honestly surprised that they didn't switch earlier. So as I'm charging stuff, whenever something's finished, I usually just swap it out. I try and keep a nice line of batteries just to make sure that I know which ones are charged and which ones aren't. So, you know, I kind of have them set right in front of the charger, ready to be popped on once one finishes. And then usually while I'm hovering over my batteries, while I'm charging stuff, I am packing my clothes. T-shirts, I usually just roll up into kind of a ball. Shorts, kind of the same thing. Pants, kind of the same thing. And then whatever I can't fit in my backpack, I tend to put in my Pelican just because I know there's extra space. Normally, I try and travel pretty light, but because this was a pretty long shoot and a long trip, it was more important for me to make sure that I had the correct clothes and enough socks and stuff like that. So I ended up just packing a lot of stuff in the Pelican. And this was actually the first trip that I took my 7-inch FPV drone on. So it was kind of weird trying to find a good spot for it. I kind of just set it on top of my gimbal. All in all, it ended up fine and it worked, but I think going forward, I'm probably gonna have to take the propellers off before I travel with it in my suitcase like that again, just because I felt like they were gonna break and I don't know. It just didn't seem super secure. So anyways, once I'm all packed up, I kind of just set my stuff next to the door and then, you know, wait until I have a flight. My computer, I usually throw in a sleeve, and, you know, memory cards, SD cards. I actually just got this really nice Pelican SD card case. I still haven't even opened it. I just got it, but it's supposed to be super nice, and it's supposed to hold like 12 micro SDs and 6 regular SDs. So it should be plenty big enough for all of my cards. I currently just have them in a little box, and inside that box. They're in a little like plastic bag. And I have had issues with losing memory cards before, so it's probably for the best that I get an actual memory card case. So that's another thing that I would recommend. Anyways, that's probably gonna be it for me. This video is just kind of like a little interesting video that I wanted to make. I don't really expect a ton out of it, but I just wanted you guys to know kind of like what my process is before I actually get onto a shoot. I'd love to make a video eventually about my process on a shoot and just kind of walk you through that, but this is how I prepare and just like how I pack and charge stuff, and just kind of what my process is to try and make my life a little bit easier when I'm dealing with, you know, 10 Avata batteries and 4 Mavic 3 Pro batteries and 6 Sony batteries. It's just like it helps organize my life a bit and organize it into steps that I can follow through with. So I think that's going to be it from me. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. All right, peace.